The notion of war being beneficial to the world is a contentious perspective, often overshadowed by the overwhelming recognition of its human toll and societal disruption. However, some arguments have been put forth highlighting certain aspects that could be construed as positive, particularly the concerning advancements in medicine, the overthrowing of tyrannical leaders, and economic growth. One aspect where war has inadvertently contributed to global progress is in the field of medicine. Historically, wars have propelled medical innovations and technological advancements. The urgency to treat injuries on the battlefield has driven the development of life saving medical techniques, prosthetics, and pharmaceuticals. This was well evident after World War II and World War I, as injuries on the field of battle were so severe that on field medics were required. While these advancements are undoubtedly positive, it is crucial to acknowledge that they come at the cost of immense human suffering and loss. While it is essential to approach the topic of war with sensitivity and recognition of its profound human costs, it is possible to acknowledge certain economic impacts, particularly in the terms of job creation. During times of conflict, governments often mobilize large-scale military operations, leading to increased demand for personnel across various sectors. The defense industry experiences significant growth, generating employment opportunities in areas such as manufacturing, technology, logistics, and support services. This was well evident at the end of World War I and the beginning of World War II, as women enter the workforce to build many things such as battleships, tanks, guns, etc. Additionally, the need for skilled professionals in fields such as medicine, engineering, and cybersecurity rises as nations invest in enhancing their military capabilities. While the positive effects on employment are a secondary consideration compared to the broader consequences of war, it is important to recognize the complexity of the issue and the multi-phased impact it can have on societies. It is crucial, however, to prioritize peaceful resolutions and diplomacy to address global challenges and avoid the devastating human toll of armed conflicts. Here I have a graph that I drew from after watching a YouTube video by a very reliable source of WION. They make so many YouTube videos about war and the effects it has, and who makes what and what causes the war. They have over 3.3 million subscribers, and I deem them as very, very reliable. As you can see, this graph shows the disparity of weapons throughout war. Like who trades the most amount of weapons, who has the biggest industries, all that. The USA, obviously, at number one with 33% of the pie chart. A big jump from second place. Second place goes to Russia at 23%. Then the next highest number goes to China at 6.2. The difference between China and Russia and US is insane. That really shows what the Cold War did to Russia and the US. Thus, another impact of war that can be good. As you can see, we are leading the nation or leading the world as a nation in guns, armies, all facilities. And then we have France at number 4 with 6%, and the other 15% is just any other countries in the world. And war can be justified by Fiala. The author critically examines the ethical dimensions of war, challenging the conventional notion that war is inherently detrimental. This I agree with, as it pertains the advancements of medicine, growth of armies, and obviously overthrowing the tyrannical leaders that everyone hates. Fiala argues that under circumstances, war can serve as a catalyst for societal progress and positive change. He contends that conflicts can spark technological advancements, social reforms, and the emergence of international cooperation. While Fiala's perspective may be controversial, his exploration of the potential benefits of war prompts readers to reconsider the complexities surrounding its moral justification, urging them to engage in nuanced discussions about the impact of armed conflicts on global dynamics. I found this read very informative, and I really liked it, and it goes so much in detail about the effects of war and the positive things about it. I suggest you give it a read. Proponents of the idea that war can be economically beneficial point to the concept of war economy. Wars, they argue, stimulate economic growth through increased government spending on defense, job creation, and industrial production. The post-World War II era, often referred to as the post-war economic boom, is cited as evidence of how wartime efforts can lead to economic prosperity. Nevertheless, it is crucial to recognize that the economic gains from war are often accompanied by substantial costs, including debt, destruction of infrastructure, and long-term consequences on global markets. A good counter-argument that I read into by Rostker BD is providing for the casualties of war. He underscores the detrimental aspects of war on a global scale. He illuminates the human and societal toll of armed conflicts, emphasizing the physical and psychological trauma experienced by soldiers and civilians alike. The text delves into the economic burden of war as resources are diverted from essential needs to fund military endeavors. Additionally, Rostker might discuss the long-term impact on infrastructure, community, and international relations, highlighting the difficulty of rebuilding in the aftermath of conflict. By focusing on the challenges associated with addressing the casualties of war, the text contributes to a critical examination of the overall negative implications of armed hostilities on the world at large. War, with its destructive power and devastating consequences, profoundly and tragically impacts the world from a human life standpoint. The toll on human lives during armed conflicts is immeasurable, causing immense suffering and loss. The direct impact includes the loss of soldiers and civilians, displacement of populations, destruction of communities, and the shattering of families. This was well prominent in World War II, as many families were split up during the Holocaust, and many were placed in concentration camps. It was also evident in the U.S. when Japanese or Asian-based civilians were placed in basically POW camps, a nicer way of saying concentration camps. And they were displaced from their families and taken away, even though they were full-on American citizens, thinking that they were spies. Beyond the immediate casualties, war often leaves lasting scars on survivors, both physically and mentally, with the trauma persisting for generations. But once again, like the Holocaust, many families of the Holocaust that survived were affected later on in life, seeing their family die, watching them slowly be malnourished into death. It was, I can only describe, probably heart-wrenching. It's probably a terrible experience. The disruption of healthcare systems and access to basic necessities further exacerbates the vulnerability of populations caught in conflict zones. Additionally, the targeting of non-combatants, including women and children, displacement of refugees, and the destruction of critical infrastructure all contribute to the profound negative effects on human life during times of war. It is crucial for global communities to prioritize diplomacy, conflict resolution, and peace-building efforts to prevent and mitigate the catastrophic human toll that wars inflict. Excuse me. In conclusion, while certain aspects of war, such as advancements in medicine, the overthrowing of tyrannical leaders, and economic impact, are presented as positive, it is essential to approach these arguments with a critical lens. The human suffering and the loss of life, as well as the long-term societal consequences associated with war, remain significant concerns. As we navigate discussions about the effects of war, it is imperative to prioritize diplomacy, conflict resolution, and global cooperation to address the root causes of disputes without resorting to armed conflict. That is why NATO has been created to bind the peaceful countries and try to make good with each other and prevent as much war, casualties, and economic disparity as much as possible.